you ever think about like what we just as a human civilization are wrong about the most, like mainstream archaeology? Just like a suspicion. What could we get completely wrong? Well, one way to get something wrong is totally like lost civilization, like an obviously gigantic civilization that was there along with the Maya or something like this in the 10,000 years ago.
There's certainly that. There could be things that were either wiped away or still hiding under the oceans that would completely change the way we think about things.
And everybody knew they existed and everybody interacted with them. It was...
I think it's our estimation of their motivations that we're probably most wrong on. My teacher, Sheely, a long time ago said, I would come up with all sorts of theories. I was always thinking about stuff. And she looked at me and she said, if you don't stop thinking like a Western European and start trying to put yourself in the mindset of these people, you will never understand any of it, which I've always taken to heart. I mean, I really do. When I approach these things, I try to step out of my cultural assumptions, try to think like they would think is the best I could. And it's very different. I mean, this whole, the Maya are cyclical. The whole sacrifice, we're so, obsessed with that. But, that was an austere actual sacrifice on their part. They weren't just, hey, let's all get together and kill that guy that's pissing us off. I mean, they were like, giving the best of them. It was a different mentality. This was not brutal. This was a, bona fide sacrifice on their part, a loss.
Plus the whole mystery of the puppy that eventually starts having sex with his
I tell you, that one, I'm going to unweave that one of these days.
One of these days. Now, that puppy appeared on pottery?
All over pottery. He's everywhere. I got to write this book. This next year is the year I'm going to write my Fang Deity book, and I will have a whole chapter dedicated to the puppy.
the mystery solved. I mean, it could just be the birth of memes of humor. I don't know. I mean, again, humor. You don't know what the nature of their humor, of what their jokes are.
Oh, that's a neat one too. Then that's so human. I'll tell you a little side story here that when I worked with the Maya people in Palenque, I spent 3 years making this map of the city and hiking through the jungle every day, and they would talk to each other in their own language. It was Celtal was the group I was working with. But I noticed after a while, they were big jokers. They loved to make jokes, and they would laugh at jokes. But then they would also, one of them would say something, and the other ones would go, hoo-hoo. And I eventually asked, what is that? Why do you guys always make that hoo-hoo noise? And they said, that's because he made a really smart pun. It was like he said 3 different things at once. It was a turn of phrase that was smart. And they didn't make laughs at that. It was they had a noise for when somebody said something just super clever. Yeah. So there's also that, just clever turn of speech.
Yeah. Wit.
And I think about that when I'm a hieroglyphic translator. Here's a beautiful thing that's going to be like a poem or a political statement, and I'm just ploddingly looking in a dictionary of what that word means. There's probably double, triple entendres all through this text, and the real meaning is the subtext. And I'm thinking they're talking about corn, and they're talking about the nature of life.
Yeah, it could be satire. It could be, as it was in the Soviet Union, when there's a dictator, maybe there's an overpowering king, you're not allowed to actually speak. You have to hide the thing you're actually trying to say in the subtext. So, and all of that.
There was a funny Maya ceramic that had the ceramics are neat because they don't the monuments can be kind of broken records. I'm the king. I was born this time. I beat these people up. I married this woman. I died. Yeah. But the ceramics will tell us things out of mythology stories. And there was this one with a rabbit looking at the merchant god, and nobody could translate the text. And finally, this Eastern European, actually a Ukrainian guy, translated it. And the rabbit's saying to the merchant god, "Bend over and smell my ass." And oh man, we were expecting this wonderful piece of mythology, but no, it translates "bend over and smell my ass." That's great. That's human.
As we mentioned previously, human nature does not change.